Welcome back to Bostin British Fittle, where Maggie and I aim to bring you as many varieties of different British foods as we possibly can. Today we're doing a dessert which best exemplifies the British spirit, how to use up leftover food and how to forage for it as well. We're doing bread and butter pudding with blackberries. This pudding consists of bread, butter, eggs, milk and sugar, and for that beautiful pinky purple filling, the forager's fruit of choice, blackberries. Bread and butter pudding was first known in the 11th century as white pot, when it was made, instead of butter and eggs and milk, it was made with bone marrow and boiling water. By the 13th century, that changed when the marrow and the water was taken out and the butter, eggs and milk was put in. And then it became known as bread and butter pudding. Now, as a nation of foragers, which is what Britain is throughout Scotland, Wales and England, being so good at foraging for food and fruits, one of the most common fruits to be able to be found anywhere other than apples was blackberries, which is why we've added blackberries to this, and it is a true forager's leftovers meal. For this meal, you're going to need 1 pint or 130 fluid litres of milk, 10 slices of bread, 2 eggs, 4 ounce or 120 grams of caster sugar, 2 ounce or 50 grams of caster sugar or brown sugar, 2 ounce or 50 grams of butter, 4 ounce or 120 grams of fresh blackberries, and half a teaspoon of nutmeg and half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Okay, in terms of preparation, we're going to wash our blackberries, clean them off. We're going to butter a pie dish like this. We're going to take our eggs, put them into a bowl and whisk them together, and we're going to decrust our 10 slices of bread. Once that's all done, we're ready to begin. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is take our blackberries, put them into a bowl, and then we get our 2 ounce of sugar, and just going to spread these about a bit. And we just layer it over like this. Nice. Okay. Now we're going to set this aside for a few minutes. Next up, we're going to get a saucepan, pour in our milk. And we're going to set that there we go. We need to get that close to boiling. But whilst it's doing that, excuse me, we're going to add in our cinnamon. There we go. And our nutmeg. Give that a nice stir. And flavours in there. Okay. cinnamon and nutmeg off my spatula. There we go. And then I'll put in sugar. Doesn't want to all come out. There we go. Good, that's all done. And butter. Oh, blimey. That went in a bit quicker than I expected. Made a nice mess, thank you very much. So I'll clean up later. And then you want to add the fully whisked eggs. This is why I love spatulas, they're very good for getting the last drizzle out. Excellent. So, whilst that's on the heat, just going to slowly make sure the ingredients are all mixed well, the sugar dissolves into the milk, the cinnamon and nutmeg mix beautifully together. As you can see, it's starting to turn a beautiful custard yellow type colour. Now the butter's not all fully melted, but whilst that's doing, when I get that pie dish, butter it up like I've done here, and then you get your pieces of decrusted bread and layer it around the outside. It doesn't have to be pretty. You want to layer as much of the sides and bottom as you can. Butter's melting. Let's give that another quick stir. The fact that the butter's melting is a good sign that the milk is warming and not boiling. Okay, that's good. The bread, and now we're just going to layer this on. Now I'm going to spread that about a bit. So as many of the blackberries around as we can. There we go, that's a nice even spread. And then we layer the top with the last pea bread that you have. I've got here. So I'm going to cut this last piece up, bread that I've got. I'm just going to layer the sides. So pop a bit there, pop a bit there, pop a bit there, and there. Excellent. So that's ready. So we'll set that to one side. We'll see how this is coming on. Oh, that's looking good. As you can see, it's a nice mix. The herbs may be staying on top, but the majority of them have mixed really well with the milk. There we go, we're getting the sort of colour we want. The butter is almost all gone, which is what we want as well. And while that's still heating up, we're going to switch the oven on to 200 degrees centigrade, gas mark 6, or 420 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's do that now. There we go. Okay, let's say that was just about done. Yep, the butter's all gone, everything's mixed in well. So now I'm going to pour this over the pie dish. Very slowly, we don't want the accident happening that we'd had earlier with the butter. Trying to cover as much of it as I can. Of course it will just soak in anyway. There we go. And that's exactly, well, I hope so, what it should look like. The milk hasn't burnt throughout. There's that nice whiff of the cinnamon and the nutmeg. And we are now going to stick that in the oven for around 40 minutes. It's now 11:40, so we're going to come back to it at 12:15 and see how we're getting on. Hi guys, before we go any further, please don't forget to follow, like and subscribe my YouTube channel to get updates on all the other British foods I'm going to try. And if you can think of any other British foods that I might like to try, go on to my Blue Sky account, bostinbrickfittle.bluesky.social. And don't forget to also check out my Instagram page for all the British foods that I'll have tried, and you can see all the images on there. All right, thanks very much and enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, it's just about time now to get the spread and butter pudding out. Ooh. Ooh, it's a little crispier on top than I would like, but still, we'll give it a try later and see what we come up with. Okay, we're going to give this bread and butter pudding with blackberries a try, and it's recommended you have it with some cream, so I'm going to put some clotted cream in there. There we go. We're just going to get a piece. There we go. Beautiful and warm. Clotted cream complements it perfectly, and despite the fact that it was slightly burnt on top, it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference. So try another piece, this bit a little more of the crusty top. Get the crunch from it, but not the burntness. The blackberries make something of it as well. So it's beautiful and soft on the interior and this beautiful crunchy texture on the outside. I think it was saved just before it got too bad. But that's really nice. But what does the pupper think? What does the pupper think? Okay, let's see what the pupper makes of this bread and butter pudding. A little bit of blackberry there as well. So here she is, tail wagging. Oh, it's gone. That was quite a warm piece. You sure you're okay with that? Yep, absolutely loved it. Gone.